Hey friends! Welcome to the Drug Prevention Power Hour, where we empower leaders in youth drug prevention. After creating a student-led movement hosting epic drug-free events across the nation, your host, Jake White, dedicated himself to making the prevention field more fun, impactful, and relevant for today's youth. So if you're in education, counseling, public health, prevention, or just a caring adult looking for strategies to protect your kids, we hope you subscribe and learn from every show. Coming to you from Jake White and his team at Vive 18, enjoy this episode of the Drug Prevention Power Hour.
Welcome back to another episode of the Drug Prevention Power Hour. I'm your host, Jake White from Vive 18, and today I'm hanging out with a new friend, Josh Brown Sr. And let me tell you a little bit about him before we dive in and get to know him. He is a powerful anti-drug speaker who draws from personal experience with addiction and recovery to inspire youth to make positive life choices. With raw honesty, engaging storytelling, and a message of hope, he connects deeply with audiences and empowers them to choose strength over substances. So Josh, thank you for being on the Drug Prevention Power Hour, my man.
Hey,
how you doing?
Thanks for having me. I really do appreciate the opportunity to be on here with you.
Yeah, of course. And hey, where do you live? Where are you from?
I'm originally from West Virginia, but I relocated to Rochester, New York, back in 2021 of July.
Okay, cool. All right, you're a New Yorker.
Yeah. Well, they don't consider us New Yorkers, but I'm a New Yorker because we're upstate.
Okay. Is a New Yorker only like if you're in the cities or what?
That's how they treat us sometimes. Like we're far up north near Canada, Buffalo, so they're like, that's not New York. But my license plate says
What?
New York, so I'm New York.
Yeah, come on. Why do they got to be like that?
Yeah.
That's so funny. Well, you're a New Yorker to me, bro. If I'm in Arizona, so
I'm a true West Virginian, though. I love the country. I'm West
All right,
Virginia.
that's your roots?
Yes, that's the roots.
Okay, cool. And like you said, I mean, can I ask how old you are?
I'm 37.
Okay, cool. So you spent your years in West
Yes,
Virginia.
I'm definitely West Virginia, for sure.
Okay, cool. I remember when I moved to Arizona, there was this rule, like you couldn't say you were an Arizonan until you survived 3 summers here.
Well, that kind of sounds like something that would be like, I haven't experienced the Arizona heat, but hopefully one day I can. So it's hot out there, ain't it?
Right? Yeah, come on over. Go during the better times when it's like freezing cold over by you.
Yeah, but
come over by us.
That's 8 months out the year here.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Dude, well, Josh, I'm excited to get to know your story. I know that you have a passion for impacting lives because of your story and what you've been through. So I just want to ask you, like, what got you into this mission to help people choose strength over substances?
Well, I can just first start off with the name. Josh Brown, the Redeemed Felon. And I'm a redeemed felon because back in 2014, I was coaching at a high school in Jefferson High School. I was substitute teaching, and I was a supervisor at FedEx. I think I had everything that I needed together. And I went to a game with some coaches. We were tailgating, had a few drinks that led to a lot of drinks that led to a bad decision. I decided to get in the car to drive home that night after the game, and I woke up. I worked on Saturday. I woke up Monday out of ICU. I didn't know till Wednesday that sadly that night that I drove home, I went on to the other side of the road, hit some mailboxes, and I killed somebody. And stemming from that decision and accident, I ended up spending 3 years in a state penitentiary. Well, while I was in the state penitentiary, I was able to tap into who Josh really was in order to become the redeemed felon. I took a drug program. It's called RSAT. It was a 7-month program. I was lucky to be in there for 10 because I became the coordinator of it. It was a drug program that ran through the inmates. So I was able to learn a lot of things, and they offered me the opportunity one day to go speak. And I was like, absolutely not. And they're like, wow, so you're not putting shackles and handcuffs on me and taking me into the school to speak to some kids because we've seen that on TV. And it was like, no, you'll just go in your regular khakis with your counsel and you'll speak. I spoke in front of like 1,300 kids the first time I ever spoke, and I was terrified. But it went really well, and a little lady came up to a young little girl, and she was crying, and I asked her what was wrong, and she said because of me, she was able to forgive her father who was incarcerated for 10 years, and she didn't want a relationship because she didn't understand that there are good people in the prison. So ever since that moment that happened, I'm in there like every day, like, can I go speak? Can I go speak? So I was actually afforded 6 times to go speak while I was incarcerated in 3 years. And I came out and it just seemed like something I would love to do. And I just give myself to people based upon the bad decisions that that unnecessarily, you know, came up in. So let me hear. And that's why I'm here with you today.
Wow, praise God that you have this story that he's using to reach other people
Yeah.
and offer something like forgiveness, that's a powerful thing. So what I'm a little curious too, because um, you had this program while you were in the detention
Oh, yeah.
center.
Saved my life.
What was this program like? Like,
Man,
why do you think it was so powerful for you?
because it provided so much structure. No, let me tell you, I had my degree. I had, my bachelor's. I played 4 college sports. So the program was kind of a little elementary for me. So they really changed it up for me in a sense of how to graduate. So they made me write. Where there was a lot of book work for people to do, they said that I could just cheat my way through it because I could use, just my intelligence and my education to get through. So they really challenged me in ways like never before. And I'm writing. I'm like, I run NAs. We had these things called groups where we get different concepts. One is nothing changes if nothing changes. So we would have to expunge on that, like, hey, what does that mean to you? And I'm like, okay, like if my mindset, my behaviors, and my people, places, and things don't change, my drug habit won't change. So we did stuff like that. And so I was writing, and one day I had like a stack of piece of papers, and there's a guy like to read. I said, read this. And he came to me, he's like, bro, you got a book. And so, like, while I'm working on myself and trying to understand, like, Josh, how you gonna go back to the small town, the people, place, and things, and change, and how can you say goodbye to drugs and alcohol? They were, building me up to have an understanding and a foundation to do it, and I didn't even know it at the time. I'm just doing the work, and so because of that, I was able to, grow and understand that I needed, to just say no to things. I needed to have better decision making. And all the while, because I was a coordinator, I still worked through the program because I had to help other people. So they would come to me, I would have to give them homework. So I would see things that they were doing and they were doing it on my own, but that wasn't the way that I had to get through the program. So really, it was the first ever surgical repairment of the inside soul of Josh Brown.
Wow. Okay, and we talked a little bit about this before the call too, because, and I think this is an important part of your story and who you are, is you do have you have opportunities to speak right now, and you also have a full-time job that I think is doing something incredible.
Yeah.
So could you mind sharing, like, what are you up to right now as far as that goes?
Well, right now I'm getting back into the speaking realm, getting back to touching lives. I just spoke at a school a couple of weeks ago called Vertus High School. It's a charter school for all boys, but I also work inside a detention center. So I'm getting to see kids that made some of the decisions that I made and some of the decisions that people I knew in prison made, and I get a chance every single day to get in their face and have that man-to-man conversation and to explain to them that this is what happens when you do X, Y, and Z. This is what happens when you don't, strategize or get away from people or make better decisions. So it actually goes hand in hand, the ability for me to speak upon things that I've actually been through, but now I'm getting to speak on things that I'm experiencing through firsthand experiences. So I'm working as a correctional officer and I'm speaking on public platforms altogether. And that's just where my life is. That's where the calling is at. And that's where I'm going to reside because that's what I'm called to do. And that's why it's so great because I feel like I'm living in my purpose.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. Um, your story reminds me. There's a episode. I think you'll enjoy it, Josh. If you go back to like episode 2
Uh-huh.
with Roger Munchian,
Okay.
he has this program, a story, kind of like yours. It's different way of getting into prison, but
Mm-hmm.
in prison, found his purpose, found calling, found Jesus, and now distributes Bibles across the whole world in prisons and does talks in prisons and has a real heart for that
Yeah.
ministry. I think you guys would hit it off. So I'm going to connect you two
Honestly,
either
man,
way.
people like him, dang, I almost got a little emotional. People like him help change lives because it's hard to get Christianity or any religion that you want inside a prison. So when you have volunteers and people like him that come in, man, he's making a difference. Rather, he's getting paid or it's voluntary, because sometimes that's the only Bible people are going to get a touch. So, man, I would love to connect with him because it was people like him that like touch me when, sometimes when you're just down.
Yeah, dude, that's huge. And you want to know something fascinating? Like I I've prayed a lot and I've had God answer my prayers, but he told me this story because I was asking him like, how do you finance your nonprofit? How do you pay for all these Bibles?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I made a deal with God. I said, God, if you take care of my finances, I will volunteer for my own nonprofit. Like I won't take a salary or anything.
Yeah.
It'll just be 100% mission oriented. And he learned how to trade stocks. And the dude lives like a king because God has blessed him with that skill of
Yeah.
trading.
Obedience, man,
And
it's huge.
it's amazing. And like he can tell you the story because the
Yeah.
timing is perfect. It's got obedience to God written all over it and just
Uh-huh.
favor. It's very, very cool. So I'm excited to introduce both of you. And before we dive in, I definitely want to see what we can learn from you, Josh, because when we connected, I was asking you about different coping skills or
Yeah.
different tools that you help young people learn. Um, but I don't want to avoid this opportunity, Josh, for you and I to have a moment because we're both speakers,
Yeah.
and to have like an education for our listeners. Because what happens when your life is changed is oftentimes you're like, hey, this is a gift. How can I share it with as
Yeah.
most people as possible? And um, that's incredible. That's a gift in
Yeah.
itself. And so you're using this to spread this good message and to help people. Um, and then I've learned some things the last couple of years I could definitely share with you too.
Yeah.
So like let me be a resource for you, bro. If you ever need to chat about stuff as you go on this journey, I'm available to you. But my question for you is, have you heard of the difference between primary and secondary, or primary, secondary, and tertiary prevention? Does that ring a bell?
Not necessarily in those words.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's new language to me too, man. So here I'm gonna explain it to you, and then I want to give you hopefully an affirmation like afterwards.
Yeah.
So primary prevention is helping students who are not using substances stay that way for as long as possible. Knowing, right? Like if you can
Yeah.
keep that good decision, then you're gonna have an easier time creating success in your life, right?
And I think that falls on the line of peer resistance skills.
Yes, peer resistance skills. That's a big, big component.
Yeah.
There's some other things that I'm learning that if you want to dive into, um, it should be the episode before this where I talk about the 40 developmental assets. Some other things to look in is risk and protective factors. So all this research is done on what helps students become and stay drug free, while others might be more inclined to that risky decision.
Yeah.
So that's one. That's primary prevention, is helping a drug-free student stay drug-free. Secondary prevention is that student who has started using, maybe they're not fully addicted yet, but they started making those risky decisions. And Josh, I think this is where your gifting is going to be. And the science tells us it's where you need to be. The primary prevention is where I need to be because I don't have that use story.
Yeah.
You have something special because you've came out on the other side and you give them hope.
Yeah.
And then tertiary is the one where, hey, like I could die any day now. I'm addicted. It takes serious resources to get me to turn my life around, and I need help immediately, right? So the fact that you have been obedient and saying, hey, I'm going to take a job in the detention center. I'm going to put myself with people who are struggling and they need that hope. I just want to affirm that piece of you, Josh, because it's something that someone like myself, I'm sticking in primary, bro. And like, that's my gifting.
Yeah.
And you're going to really make strides in that secondary and tertiary as well.
Listen, I take that in wholeheartedly. And also confirmation, because, in front of schools, you get chances to speak to both. And it's always It's always, I always uh, offer a chance to, to speak with me, ask questions, but some people are shy. So I'm always like, I'll give you 5 minutes on the side, and I always get the ones that come up to me. It's like, hey, don't want to say nothing. Like, hey man, I've taken this medicine or this pill, or I've done this drug. What can I, So I always get those type of kids that, and as a kid, I wouldn't want to, hey, listen, I smoke, hey, I've done this, or I drink on the side. They're not going to do that. So I always give that moment. And it's funny how you said that I always get those kids that come to, hey, man, I've been trying this. It's like, hey, and let's talk. And it's not oftentimes I offer, my email for them or my social media to reach out, because I don't want them just to come and say I'm in your face and gone. So I do appreciate that, because I do give my all to those kids that are struggling in that situation, because there is another side of it I hope that they don't get a chance to see.
Yeah. And it's important to realize too that because you're gifted in reaching those students that have used, that if someone offers you an audience where it's like, hey, the students here are not using, like, would you have the confidence to say, hey, I'm not your guy? Like, because
Yeah,
that's where the data and the science shows the recovery story actually can be harmful to the students, because they see a successful adult who's like, hey, I made it out okay. And to them, they're thinking, oh, great. Well, I can too then. I can make all mistakes and do all that stuff. So it takes some courage to be like, this is my mission. Here's who I can help. Uh, and and this is who I'm here to serve, you
Yeah,
know?
because oftentimes I speak to a lot of schools, a lot of teams, and you have that in between. So I try in the beginning, honestly, man, just to make sure they understand, um, because I had a lot of success in sports while I was intoxicated, while I was smoking. So I always try to make, listen, I'm gonna tell you some stories, I'm gonna tell you some things, but they're not to be praised. Because one story I say, listen, I have 12 state titles in track and field in high school. It was a school record. I lost 2 races in 4 years. They were both when I was 14 years old and freshman. I never lost after that. Every single time I ran, I was higher drunk. Now I don't want the kid to take that and be, oh my God, I can go drink. But no, this is what happens. Like I was successful there, but things didn't catch on to me until the end. So I always try to make sure that when I speak at a school, for the people that are struggling, hey, look for help, and the people that are not, okay, this is not the way you want to go, and please don't take these stories as celebrations, because they're not.
Mm, yeah. Well, that would be something. That'd be something. Continue watching, bro, and continue looking at the prevention science, on what's working, what's not, because there's some stuff that you do. We're always going to grow, right? There's some
Yeah,
stuff that you're going to add into your talk, and some stuff you're going to take away to use your gift in the right scenario. Because
yeah,
I can tell your heart behind this, and you have a gift where you're gonna reach this target market that other people cannot reach because of your story. But I wanna pivot on, because
go
you
ahead.
have some gifts for us as far as like connection. So when you're speaking with young people, when you're doing workshops or anything like that, um, what are some of the skills that you equip them with to make their lives better? With your experience.
Well, I'm going to start with the second one because we already spoke about it. I think peer resistance skills is huge and something that I feel like needs to be taught by parents, by schools. Everybody is adult. When they get a chance to, connect with a youth, to teach them skills on how to, get out of things. Because we deal with a lot of peer pressure. We got vapes in schools. We got vapes that look like pencils. So like us as adults, we're not seeing everything like we were when we were younger. So, what are we teaching our kids to be able to stand up for themselves and be understand to say no, and like make it a part of their skill, make it a part of who they are, make it a part of like I'm not different. I'm just living this side, just because I said no. So I really feel like peer resistance skills is huge.
Okay. That's cool. And what are some examples of things like, if I had a student in front of me right now, like I'll be one, right? Hey, I'm in eighth grade, Josh, and like my friends are smoking around me, they're drinking around me, and I feel like I have to do it because like I don't have the confidence to say no, or I don't actually know what to say. Like, Josh, what can I say? What can I
Well,
do?
first of all, I want you to understand that you're enough and who you are. And you do not have to change who you are because your friends do. Now, what I want you to understand and practice and know that it's okay to say no. It's okay to stand up for yourself. And an easy way to do that is use a little humor. Make a joke out of it, but at the end of the joke, exit yourself so then they say, like, hey, man, listen, he was serious. This is something that he doesn't want to do. Or one other thing you can do is when you discuss what you don't want to do, I want you to try this. When you're speaking to them, I want you to always refer to yourself as I. Like, hey, I'm not going to take part in the smoking and drinking, but if you guys want to chill later or tomorrow, I'm still available. Don't make it about them, because then they're going to think, oh man, he's too good for me. But the whole time you're focusing on yourself, because you're the only one that can face the consequence of what's going to happen if things go bad, if you decide to indulge with what they're doing.
Dude, I like that. So they're not feeling like you're attacking them.
Yeah,
It's like, hey, this is me. This is what I'm deciding and what I want. That's
I had
cool.
a friend use that technique on me, and I don't think he understood it when we were younger. And I'm thinking back, he'd be like, I don't smoke. And he always would laugh about it. And then we would laugh at him like, hey, you don't smoke, but he was still cool with us. So even though he didn't know it, he practiced this skill with humor, and not making it that he didn't lose any, social connections. He didn't lose his friendship, because we then decided, like, hey, there's the goofball. There's not, he don't smoke, but that's still my homie. You know what I mean? So like we gotta make it fun, but at the same time, I'm still saying no. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. Like, okay, I'm gonna have a fun though. So respect my no, and that's okay, and we're gonna still be cool, but just not at that moment in time.
Mm-hmm. I like that, and I noticed that before you gave the strategy, you had said, hey, I want you to know that you're enough.
Yeah.
Like you don't need this because you have everything that you need. Like just a reinforcement of like, you never need to do what someone else wants you to do. That's not your job to please them or to do that. Like you are enough. That's cool. Mm-hmm. Awesome. What's another thing that if you're working with young people, you like to kind of impart with them, some skills or tools?
Decision making, because I believe that everything we do in life has a consequence to your decision. I made a decision. I drove for 3 minutes. It cost me 3 years. 3 years with my son. It cost me my coaching career. It cost me a lot of things. So I feel like how we wake up in the morning, everything that we do, they're based off decisions. I always say you got choices. What you gonna do? Mm-hmm. They got a choice to smoke. You got a choice to come home. They got a choice to drive. You got a choice to get out the car. So just letting them know how important that every single thing you do, when you pick up a pencil, that's a decision. I'm choosing to do my math work. When you sit down to play the game, I'm choosing, like, everything is a decision. So if you're not taking decision making important, you ain't taking life important, because everything you do is based off a decision.
That's cool. It reminds me, like, for us with Vive 18, our decision making framework is that a shortcut or is that a skill set?
Oh,
like, are you trying to get the easy one that's going to bite you, or are you doing the skill set that's going to make you better, make you money, make you friends, like all this kind of stuff? I'm wondering, as far as like examples that resonate with young people when you're talking about decision making skills, what are some scenarios that you think really work with them? Or man. How do you make it hit home?
This is crazy.
Them?
I had no intention on talking to you about this one, but I'm gonna say something that happened to me today at work. Decision making. I always say a part of your decision making, one way you can change your decision making is limit the things that you're sorry for. I tell my kids that all the time. What do you mean by that? All right, if I do something and I have to say I'm sorry, that's something you need to limit out of your life. So you're making that decision. So based upon everything you do, when you do something, when I wake up, when I walk through this door, if I go to class, if I have to say I'm sorry, I got to take that out of my decision making skills. Literally, just by living by eliminating the things that you're sorry for. So example, I had 2 kids today. We wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning. At 8:45, they started to fight. Had to grab them up, put them in their cell. Good kid, never mess with anybody. And I said, yo, what are you doing? Like, this isn't you. He was like, but I'm not a bully. I don't mess with people. They were messing with me. I said, were they talking? He was like, yes. I said, they touch you? He said, no. I said, you do realize that if nobody's physically harming you, not harming your parents, or not paying your bills, or not, the reason you wake up is not, you should not touch them or fight them unless they're fighting you. He said, what do you mean? I was like, there's never a reason to go out and fight somebody because someone said something. I said, because now what's going to happen? He's like, it's going to go to the judge. Yes, you go to court next week. So what are they going to say? Probably, oh, you're still not ready to come out because you're still not making good, valid decisions. You're not eliminating things that you have to be sorry for because you didn't think of the long-term effect. Yeah, man, I beat him up for 10 seconds. That's all you're going to get. I said there's 7 COs. You get 10 seconds. And now the short term is you're stuck in this cell. You can't get out. You're on 23-hour lockdown. The middle term, which I just made it up right now, is the judge is going to see it. So he's going to make a decision. And the long term is you may not get to go home. So when you're balancing your decisions, what's the short term effect of this? And what's the long term effect of it? Because I always want to look at the long term. And I know that people say the long term is far, but I say be persistently consistent in excellence. Be very patient. And in your patience, be persistent. And while you're persistent, make little goals, and hit those goals and celebrate them. Because as you celebrate those little goals, you're forgetting about the long term. When you get to the long term, you realize you already won because the win is not at the end. The win is in the middle. So if you can get them to understand that if I'm eliminating the things that I'm sorry for, and I'm looking at the long term, I'm making my long term goals, but in the middle, I'm making the little short term habits and that will help me accomplish my goals and all that to get to the end. You'll realize that patience is not that hard. But if you're persistent with every little thing you do, you will conquer patience. And I believe if you conquer patience, you can conquer the world. And I stand by that because in life, there's always going to be a stumble. But what do you do in a stumble? I just be patient through my persistence.
That's cool. I could tell you're a good mentor, bro. Like that you have these little moments, with them that make a big impact. Because I think of your example too, like of people fighting or needing to fight because of words.
Yeah.
And I see this when we have, a youth group or something, and people are getting very competitive and they can't help but talk too much trash or whatever it was. And they're like, they don't think I'm good. I need to show them I'm good, or I need to show them they're not better than me. And when I think about the person that is very good at their craft, they do not need anyone else to think they're good.
Yeah.
They know it. Like, you could say whatever you want to me because I know my value and worth, and I know it's not in that, and I know what I'm good at and what I'm not.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where as a young person, it feels like the threat of a lifetime. You don't think I'm awesome? I'm going to show you I am. Or you don't think I'm strong? I'm going to show you I am. But you lose. You lose when you show us that, especially when it comes to violence. Often it reeks of desperation too, and that's the thing you don't realize until you're older and your frontal part of your brain is developed and you start thinking these things. And in the meantime, we hopefully have someone like Josh around that's like, can speak these little moments into us to help us. Oh, you're right. That's the lens I want to put on when I'm making those decisions.
Yeah, and it has to be something that it's a way of life. And that's what people tend to not put in their decision-making skills. They decide that they want to be something else because this particular group come over. Just be you, just be enough, like I said before, and just constantly work on the things of, saying no because saying true to yourself. And eventually, everybody's going to accept you for who you are. Like I said, my laughing friend, when he first just like, no, I'm not doing it. I was like, well, you're a clown. And then after a while, I was like, hey, like that's who he is. He's going to laugh about it, he's going to play, but he's not going to do it. But we still love him because he's uniquely himself. So I just feel like if you're yourself, eventually, man, the right people will stand by you. The wrong people will leave you. And once you get to accepting that and who you are, man, life will be a lot easier. It'll be smoother. There's always going to be bumps and bruises, but it will be smoother and it'll be a lot easier to just live.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good, man. And I love what you said is that the right people are going to stick with you. The wrong people are going to leave you. And that is good news.
Yeah.
We don't want to be stuck with these wrong people that are trying to change us and make us into something we're not. And nobody's happy, right? Not them, not us. That's great. Is there any last tools and strategies that you want to leave us with? We talked about decision-making skills, and we also talked about being able to say no to things that aren't healthy.
This one is pretty, open. I think a lot of people know that. And it's just stress management and coping skills because, man, these kids are dealing with a lot. First, drugs and alcohol. You got the social media that's pressuring you, and you're just strolling, and the algorithm is just showing you things that you don't need to know. I just want to encourage people out there, man, just to take a deep breath, exercise, journal, take deep breaths, get a stress ball. I see a lot of kids, in detention, they get stress balls. I just want to encourage people to do those things that would help you stress, that help you relieve yourself, to understand that, man, trouble don't last always. Good days are coming. And my book, I was very stressed out in prison during that time period of drug rehab, and journaling, writing is how I formed my book. So you just never know. Just simple stress relieving skills and coping skills brought me into a purpose that I never even knew I had. So those things ultimately, not just for the moment, it could be long term too. And again, something that you can use on your job, a family event, drugs and alcohol. You just never know. So I really want people to really tap in. If you're stressed, if you're depressed, reach out to somebody. Use those skills just to get out, because we don't want anybody to suffer. And it's okay to not be okay. And when you're not okay, we want you to know that it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah, that's so good. And it's okay to try different, like, healthy coping skills, because like you love writing.
Yeah.
And maybe the next person's like, hey, that's not your thing, but maybe music is, or maybe different physic things.
Yes.
Or yeah, that's huge. It's like finding your healthy coping skill, or finding your skill set instead of that shortcut it's gonna transform your life.
I tell kids all the time, I know that they have phones. Real quick, just get a deep breathing app where you can just sit down for 2 or 3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, and just relax yourself. So it's right at the tip of their hands, but they don't know if we don't tell them. So I really wanted to get that out. It's not okay to be stressed. It's not who we are. It's not who you called and meant to be.
Yeah. And I think a powerful thing too is, because if you have somebody you're mentoring or you have access to that looks up to you, sometimes it's like, let me download this. Like, literally demonstrate how to download an app, open it up, do the thing, and they see someone they admire doing it. All right, now I have permission, because deep breathing sounds kind of weird to me or whatever. But all right, if Josh does it and it works, then maybe I could do it too. That's so huge. Josh, I want to thank you. You mentioned a couple things I want to know about. So I want to leave people with, where can we find out more about you, what you're up to? And then you mentioned a book. I want to know about your book.
My book's right here.
And then we'll say goodbye.
You can find this.
Prison to Purpose.
Yes. I think it was so amazing for me to be able to once be a prisoner to now to be a correctional officer. You can find that book at www.joshdbrown.com. And all there, you will find everything about me, my social media handles. You're able to book me for speaking engagements. You can order my book. You can just learn more about me if you would like. Like I said, you can hit the social media handles and follow me, connect with me, speak with me, shoot me a message. I'm always open to talk to anybody about anything. My past, your past, whatever. So I'm out there. I'm here. And that's how I found you, is on LinkedIn. So those different ways, but you can always go to my website, www.joshdbrown.com.
Okay, that's perfect. Hey, Josh, thank you for being somebody who's taking action to help people. And I think that that's our listeners, right? They're people that want to use their pain for purpose, and they want to help make sure that other people don't need to go along those same routes. And we're all learning as we go, and we're trying to do it the best that we abilities. And I see that in you.
Yeah.
So bro, once again, hit me up anytime. You want to chat about things like this or anything we touched on, you want to know more about, like, I'm in your corner. I'm a fan. I want to see good people with great character doing this work. So welcome to the family, the prevention family.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I want to just sign off by telling everybody who listens to this podcast, thank you for tuning in each Monday. Thank you for investing in the lives of young people. And remember, we're better together. So check out vive18.com. Check out joshdbrown.com, and any of the other guests that have been on the show. We are better together. And I think God made us for a community, and it just shows up in the results. Yeah. So tag us in when you need us, and we'll be here cheering you on as you go along. But that's it. We will see y'all next Monday for another episode of the Drug Prevention Power Hour.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Drug Prevention Power Hour podcast. If you love the show, make sure to leave a review and share what you've learned. And if you need help reducing substance use among youth by educating and engaging students in prevention, visit vive18.com for more information, tools, and resources.